land reform, the endless debate, the cries of injustice. But before we dive into the propaganda, let's ask a simple question. Where were the so-called black farmers when the English first set foot in South Africa during the First Boer War? Does anyone even ask that question? Or do we simply accept the narrative handed to us without challenging it? Let's start from the beginning. The truth behind this so-called land dispute is much more complicated than we've been led to believe. Before we continue, if you're loving the content and want to take things to the next level, why not consider joining the channel? As a member, you'll unlock some seriously awesome perks. We're talking exclusive badges, emojis to flex in the comments, sneak peeks of upcoming videos, and even special shoutouts during the show. Plus, you'll be directly supporting the channel so I can keep bringing you the best content possible. Just hit that join button below and take your seat among the legends. And hey, if you're not ready to join, no worries. Your likes, comments, and shares still mean the world to me. Thanks for being here and know that you are appreciated. Now let's keep this party going. During the First Boer War, the Boers were fighting for their survival against the British Empire, a powerful force determined to take control of South Africa. But where were these so-called native farmers, the ones we're told were the rightful owners of the land? They were nowhere to be found. Because instead of farming the land, they were too busy fighting each other. The tribes of South Africa were locked in endless warfare, struggling for dominance, wealth, and power. Tribal wars, not agriculture, defined this period. Where were the black farmers in this mess? Nowhere, as they fought bloody battles for control, laying waste to each other in a chaotic struggle for power. Farming was the last thing on their minds. They were too busy massacring each other to settle and build any form of sustainable livelihood. Fast forward to the Second Boer War, the English return with their full force, using scorched earth tactics, burning down Boer farms, killing livestock, and throwing Boer women and children into concentration camps. And where were these so-called black farmers during all of this? Still nowhere to be seen. Instead, many of them did something shocking. They joined forces with the British fighting against the Boers. Why? Because they weren't farmers. They were free-roaming opportunists, willing to align themselves with anyone who promised them something. They weren't concerned with cultivating land, they were concerned with survival, at any cost. And when the war ended, the Boers had lost everything: land, their families, their future. What happened to the land that once belonged to the Boers? It was occupied by those who had never worked it, who had never cultivated it. And yet today, we're told that land belongs to them, when they didn't even lift a finger to build it. But here's the twist. What happened after the dust settled? The British, the so-called liberators of South Africa, packed their bags and left. They had no use for this land anymore, and they left the black people who had fought alongside them with nothing. The English were nowhere to be found. The black communities were left to fend for themselves, and instead of accepting responsibility for the consequences of their alliance with the British, they turned to blame the Boers. Now, these same black communities started occupying land that had once belonged to the Boers, the very land that the Boers had fought and died for. The Boers whose families had been torn apart by the British, whose women and children perished in concentration camps, and whose farms were burnt to the ground. These same Boers were now the villains. But how? How did they become the villains in a story where they were the victims? Fast forward to today. South Africa is burning under the weight of failed land reform policies. We hear the same old chants, "Stolen land, give it back." But the real question is, what land? The land the Boers fought and died for? The land they cultivated from nothing, building a nation? Or the land that was handed over by the British to those who had never farmed a single day of their lives? Today, land reform isn't about justice. It's about exploitation, an attempt to rewrite history, to paint the Boers as villains when the truth is far darker. It's about selling a lie to the public and gaining power from it. The truth? History doesn't lie, but those who seek to manipulate it do. And as South Africa spirals, the question remains, will we continue to let these lies destroy everything the Boers fought for? The truth is out there. It's ugly, inconvenient, and dangerous to those who benefit from the lie. But it must be told, because history doesn't care about feelings. It only cares about facts. And the fact is, land was not stolen. It was built, and it was taken, not by the Boers, but from them. It's time we face the truth. Only then can we truly heal. Thank you for watching. See you next time.